who's the most badass character in Tower of God, okay? Think about that for a second, because there's a lot of them, right? Is it Jinsung Ha? Is it Calovan? Is it White? Like, who is it? It's Evankhell, okay? It is Evankhell. You are not telling me that there's a more badass character than Evankhell. Okay, maybe you are. If you are, put them in the comments down below. You don't get much more badass than Evankhell the Infernal, or the Infernal Evankhell, the former ruler of the second floor, top 60 ranking, has the power of an ancient, uses fire Shinsu orbs and can decompress. I think I'm in love. Don't tell Iwa, okay? I just like fire people. They're just super cool. Today, we're gonna break down Evankhell, her history, her powers even, diving into that a little bit at least, her relationships, blah, 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 just kind of break down the lore surrounding Evankhell. This channel has a lot of Tower of God content, so if you're new here, be sure to subscribe. Daily content, which is pretty crazy. We do Attack on Titan, Jujutsu Kaisen, Tower of God. It's a lot of fun, so definitely stick around. As I said, Evankhell used to be top 60. She isn't anymore because of what happened at the last station. She kind of got demoted, which is really interesting because this tells us that the Tower of God ranking system, or as far as the Tower's rankings go, they're not all about strength, right? It's not like, oh, you're top 60 strongest. It means something like that, but just because she fought against Jahab, they lowered her rank. So it doesn't necessarily mean top 60 means you're top 60 strongest, although it does correlate somewhat. She used to be the ruler of the second floor, but as we know, she got fired by the administrator, so now she's kind of chilling with Bomb's group, being his teacher, etc., etc. She's over 3,000 as far as her age goes, so she's been around for quite a while. And what's really interesting too is as far as her height goes, according to SIU, when she is decompressed, she's 23 feet tall. Now, that's with an asterisk, right? Because this was from a blog post from a while ago. So long ago, in fact, that SIU used to have Evankhell be a man. He hadn't shown up yet, though, so he always referred to him as a he, and then SIU changed his mind and made Evankhell a woman. We're gonna get to that in a second as well. But overall, that could be inaccurate information now, right? We don't know if that's true, but she is huge. She is definitely massive. So at some point during her history, she was some kind of mercenary. She would take on any job. She didn't care about politics or anything like that. She was just going around, killing, honestly. She loves killing and whatever. And she found Han Sung, encountered him, and then spared him after hearing what he had to say about his motives and his wanting to change the tower. You can hear more about that by clicking the card here in my Han Sung video. And eventually she comes to the second floor and kills the former ruler, thereby becoming the ruler. And from then on, everything became hell. The floor was known as Evankhell's Hell, which is hilarious. Well, kind of hilarious, but also, I can imagine, kind of hellish. And yet, despite all this, she was not present during Season 1. She had work to do, and it's likely that Han Sung and some others set that up in some way, because while she's gone, all the shenanigans happened, with Han Sung and Fug and everything. So she wasn't around during Season 1, but obviously we know that she shows up later at the end of Season 2 to save Han Sung. She gets caught up in the war and everything, and right now she's basically Bomb's teacher. She's helping him with his orb technique and all that stuff. Her training is really great too, because she's teaching Bomb not to always rely on the thorn and everything. She's telling him to use his own powers, and she's really training him really well. So Season 3 Bomb is a beast, partially and largely due to Evankhell's training. And of course, she was around and is currently around for most of Season 3, a majority of Season 3. She's done a ton of stuff aside from just training Bomb in the flashback scenes and stuff. She was there, fighting at the cage, fighting Kel Halam, fighting LaFave, finding out information on the nest. She was doing a lot. So Evankhell is definitely a major character and is present for a lot of the plot points. Now, okay, as far as her personality goes, she is hugely influential, and part of this could be due to the fact that she's really scary. We know that in Season 1, Evan, not Evankhell, was freaking out because he didn't want to get caught by Evankhell. He was like, I will literally die. He wasn't freaking out, but he was talking to Han Sung, and Han Sung basically was like, Evankhell better not find out you're here or you could die. And Evan was like, yeah, I probably would die. So that's Evan talking, the top guy to the tower as far as we know, so that certainly says something. Now, what's interesting about Evankhell too is this isn't really her personality, but she is a woman, SIU has confirmed this, but SIU has also stated that it would be inaccurate to say that she is perfectly female. Now, we don't really know what SIU means by this. That could be interpreted as, okay, there's some shenanigan thing happening here, like maybe the gender curse, right, with Yura and everything. If you want to find out more about that, you can click the card. That's possible. It could also be just a weird translation, like perhaps SIU means it as more of like, she acts like a man. Maybe that's what he meant, like she doesn't really act like your typical female, quote unquote. I don't know. There's interpretations and whatever that you could take out of that, but it is worth considering that SIU did state that she isn't perfectly female. She obviously does not take crap from anybody. She's not the type to take orders. She's the boss, you know. She killed the ruler of the second floor and was like, yeah, this is my floor now. You know, I do all the commands and whatever. But she does treat her subordinates very well. So Han Sung-yu, even Leiro Ro, right? Leiro Ro seemed to have a pretty decent relationship with Evankhell, as far as we know, but especially Han Sung. Evankhell did not, Evankhell was fine with fighting Jahad's army if it meant saving Han Sung and protecting Han Sung, because that's how much she cared, you know? So that says something certainly, and we could talk more about her relationship with Han Sung. It's honestly very touching, you know? It started out as she was about to kill him, but now they're basically besties, and it's really interesting because a lot of people ship these two. I can't say maybe that I really ship them, but at the same time, I do like the ship. I see them more as like partners, you know, but who knows? Who knows? But overall, they care about each other. They're there for each other. I really like their relationship. Even her relationship with Bomb is fantastic too. Like, she is there for him. Now, we don't really know too much, right? But after the time skip for season 3, it seems that they get along quite well. And she's a great teacher, you know, with her unorthodox methods or whatever, she's getting the job done because Bomb is an absolute beast. So apparently she's a good teacher as well, so who knew? Now, what I find interesting is in the past, she was kind of working as a mercenary, just kind of killing people and whatever, and she has stated that she just likes killing people. She likes murdering people. That's kind of her thing. You could call her crazy for that, and you would probably be right. Evankhell is kind of her own form of crazy, and that's why we all love her, let's be real. Okay, now getting into her powers. So I'm not gonna dive too much into specific detail, but basically, Evankhell is strong. Okay, if you didn't know this, then you are not reading okay, you knew that Evankhell was strong. She is top 60, or was top 60, which again doesn't say exactly where she stands as far as power goes, but it tells you she is like one of the top 100, at least, strongest people in this entire tower. Now, she has the ancient power, but we're gonna get to that last. That's the last thing I wanna talk about. But as far as her regular powers go, she's not even scared of fighting other high rankers, right? I think there was 2 high rankers and 30 rankers at the last station, and she was like, I'll fight them all, no big deal, you know? Evankhell is insane, right? She was going against Kel Halam and Calavan and was barely even breaking a sweat, you know? She couldn't necessarily beat them at the moment, but if they had continued fighting, who knows, right? Now, her particular powers, so she uses Shinsu orbs. As far as I know, she's the only other character aside from Bomb who we have seen use an orb. It's an extremely rare technique, and it's insanely busted, right? It uses a ton of Shinsu, and it packs a punch. Now, what's really cool about her orbs, and she can use up to 4 of them as far as we've seen, is that they're massive flaming orbs. So that's kind of Evankhell's thing. She uses flames, and obviously that ties into her ancient power. Dude, she has so many crazy flame techniques. I'm not gonna say what each one of them does, but listen to these techniques' names, okay? Orb Inferno, Death Sentence, Flower of Flames, Hellfire, Primeval Flame, Festival of Flames, Wailing Flames. Like, bro, I'm not even scratching the surface. Evankhell is a master of flames. She makes the Yan family look bad. Okay, that was a joke. Yan family, please don't get after me, that was a joke. And that's just her Shinsu, right? Physically, she's also an absolute monster. Now, she might not look like much regularly. I mean, she looks strong, right? She was using a flaming sword at one point and she was insane. But when she decompresses, bro, she becomes... Okay, now here's the thing, right? It looks super cool. We don't really know. She hasn't necessarily fought with her decompressed form a ton yet, but we can assume that her physical strength just skyrockets because her muscles are insane. Her height is insane. She's an absolute monster and we love her for it. So keep that in mind too. I wish I could say more about it, but I don't think we know enough about it yet because when she decompressed, she didn't actually do a lot with that form. So I'm really curious where that takes us in the future. But okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Because Evankhell is a host of an ancient. Now this, I've always gotten this confused, I've even misspoken about this at times. Evankhell herself is not an ancient. However, she is the host of an ancient. Just like Rak is the descendant of an ancient and of the native one, so is this giant, massive, flaming elephant. This elephant is like the representation of the fire, just like Rak's is the earth. Now, somehow this thing chose Evankhell as its host. We don't really know how it happened, but she can basically bring forth this stand, right? This elephant, and it's insane what this elephant can do. Again, flames and infernos and hellfire combined with her orbs. It makes Evankhell absolutely unstoppable. Now what's really interesting too is that Rak apparently has seen these flames, because during the last station he specifically says, "What are these flames like? I've seen them before," or something along those lines. So I really want Evankhell and Rak to talk. They haven't spoken yet, and we're all dying to know what the deal is with Rak. I really want to see that in Season 3. So yeah, that honestly is most of the lore about Evankhell. I kind of skimmed over some things, like the specifics of her powers, but you can find that stuff out on the wiki or by reading the comic, of course. Evankhell is insane. She's definitely one of my favorite characters, and honestly, the more time goes on with Tower of God being on hiatus, she's one of the characters I find myself thinking about the most, because she's just so cool, man. She's so cool, and I feel like we've taken advantage of the fact that she's in this story now. Like, we went years without knowing what Evankhell looked like, who she was, that she was even a woman. Like, it's just so cool having this character in the story, training Bomb, fighting these enemies, being a part of the team. It's freaking dope. The last thing I'll say is I want to see more Evankhell once Tower of God comes back. I'm sure we will. That'd be super dope. But anyway, guys, thanks for watching. If I missed anything, leave it down below. Again, if you have more badass characters that I didn't mention that you think maybe is more badass than Evankhell, then definitely leave it in a comment down below. Also, huge shout out to Big Juice and Syed Masood, the sponsors of the channel. All of my patrons, I mean, you guys, I would not be able to make daily content without you. Also, we are just below our goal currently to keep releasing a video a day. So if you support the channel, we can continue making daily content. I'm going to keep making daily content for a little longer, but if we don't keep up the goal, then it's gonna be harder for me. So definitely consider supporting me on Patreon. There's some cool benefits there, like seeing the videos early and whatnot. So consider becoming a patron on the Patreon. The link is down below. All right, guys, I'll see you in my next Tower of God lore video. Take care.